You're watching Seven River Sports here on KQBG. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, an inside look into sports, into wellness, and into fitness. Well, this week we wanted to spotlight Viterbo Mens Volleyball. You heard it right. Viterbo Mens Volleyball. We've had women's volleyball on several times. But the men's volleyball, their inaugural year, which we're going to discuss, 18-19, and it's only fitting that after the success of women's volleyball, and all of our viewers know that they would add men's volleyball. I think the 19th sport at Viterbo. And again, our guests today, Dave Simon, head coach, Collin, Hansen, and Jacob Nonn. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry.
Well, Dave, I've known you before as an assistant, but what was the thought? Were you part of the thought process in adding men's volleyball?
Well, it went back to when Rick Artman was president, and they were talking about adding sports. And when Barry let me know that they were thinking about adding men's volleyball, I went to him and said, Barry, I'm your guy. I want to be the coach. We had to start men's volleyball here. And then shortly after that, Rick announced that he was going to retire. So they kind of put it on hold because they wanted to make sure that the new president coming on board was on board with adding sports. So Rick retired, and that kind of delayed a little bit. Glenna Temple came on as our president, and as you well know, Terry, Glenna is very pro-athletics. So they brought it to Glenna, and Glenna said, by all means, just go ahead with it. And at that point, Barry and I sat down and had serious conversation about starting the program.
Yeah, well, and I've always been impressed with your resume. I mean, you bring a great deal of credibility to both the women's and the men's program. For our viewers, take us on a journey of where you've been before you came here.
Well, I got my start in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, actually at Columbia Heights High School. I started out in the junior ranks with their junior program, then became an assistant on their high school varsity program, where we won a couple of state titles, 2 and 3 years. From there, I moved on to the collegiate ranks. I was at Virginia Tech and at the University of Wyoming, so I spent 8 years at the Division I level as an assistant. Then moved on to the University of Minnesota Crookston as the head coach in the Northern Sun Conference. Went from there to Winona State as an assistant for a couple of years, and then took over as the head coach. And then after Winona State, came over here with Ryan.
What's impressive, too, is just reading on the website, you've coached 66 all-conference players throughout your career, 21 All-American, and your knowledge of the sport is highly impressive. It's a blessing, Dave, to have you as head coach with the men's program. Recruitment, such a key component to college coaching. So you recruit this guy by the name of Collin Hansen from Hampton, Minnesota, Farmington High School. I've heard of that.
It's the South Suburban Conference. It's by Lakeville, Apple Valley, Shakopee, Burnsville, around that area.
So how did you find out about this Collin Hansen?
Well, so it's an interesting story, right? Boys volleyball it's the fastest growing boys sport at the high school level in the country right now. And so Minnesota last year was trying to get boys volleyball going. So they had a pilot program last spring where initially they had about 40-some teams interested, and they ended up getting 24 schools to sponsor a team in this initial spring league. And so I go up there, and it started in April and played mainly in May, and I go up there to watch, and I see Collin. Now you got to remember, this is Collin's very first time ever playing volleyball last May. Okay, he'd been a basketball player all of his life, and you can ask him about that. I go and I see him jump and get elbows over the net and block a ball, and I said immediately, I got to recruit that guy.
That is a great story. Now, Collin, when this guy comes up to you, this Coach Simon talks about volleyball, was your first thought, I'm a college basketball player. What are you talking about?
So my first thought is, so my coach, AJ Dubeck, he came up to me. He's like, Collin, there's a coach from Viterbo that wants to talk to you. And I said, what? Like I was just like confused, and then I went over and me and Dave had a really good conversation, talked for about 30 minutes, I would say, and it was and I enjoyed the conversation that we had, and it was a great time.
Well, good, but let's not forget about this other guy next to me, Jacob Nonn, from a place I'm familiar with, Cross Plains, but Middleton High School.
Yep.
Boy, some great sports teams in Middleton, no question about it. Is the story with you recruiting Jacob as interesting as the one?
Well, there is an interesting twist to Jacob's story, okay? So Jacob started out, and he was probably about a 5'8", 5'10", I don't know, a guy, and then all of a sudden he just shot up. So he had never really been a hitter most of his life until this year. He had been a defensive player because he'd been a smaller guy, and then all of a sudden Jake shoots from 5'10" to 6'4", and so now he's trying to just get used to this new length and new body, basically, so to speak. And so I really didn't get Jake out of high school. I got Jake out of the club play because Jake on his high school team had been just a defensive specialist. So it's a little harder for me to get out in the fall because of the women's season to see a lot of the boys' high school stuff in Wisconsin. So I saw Jake playing in club, and so that's his story. He had never really been a primary hitter until this year, and now look at him.
So when I go back and I ask people around the Middleton area about you, there's probably a lot of people that out there is one tremendous volleyball player. Is that correct?
No, I was more in the shadow of some of my teammates. Like, we had some really good players come out of Middleton, and I was kind of in the shadow of all of them.
You're not the shadow anymore because you're on Seven Rivers Sports, and it'll be seen throughout the world. So now you're more famous than the guys you thought were famous.
I guess.
Let's go back down memory lane to you getting started with volleyball.
I started back in middle school in 6th grade, played a couple of years there, didn't really have a set position there. Then I was like, I want to do this in high school because this is fun. So then I was like 5'2" freshman year of high school, so I was like, I'll play defense. And I worked my way up the ranks playing defense. But there was always this star libero at my position that was a freshman also, and he was the starter on varsity from day one, so I always sat in his shadow.
But then getting involved in these elite teams, these club teams, is that really where your skills flourished?
Yes, they teach you so much more. Those seasons just really helped me improve as a player.
And go back to your high school team. Some fond memories of that?
Yes, we were a very close-knit group of guys. We were basically brothers.
Good, good. And so would you say the same thing about your high school career? I know with basketball, you were a gifted basketball player, right?
Mine
In your mind, you were.
So mine is a lot weirder on how, like, because literally me and my basketball buddies were just like, because we kind of wanted to do something during the spring, because we'd always go to like our pizza restaurant area, and they have a volleyball court, and they have tournaments there during the summer, and our parents would play in them because we weren't 18 yet, so we couldn't play in them, but we'd play our coach who ended up coaching us in those tournaments. He was also our basketball coach too, our 10th grade coach, and then he would play against us, and then we kind of ratted on him about, like, Dubek, you should try and get this to get going, and kind of asked Cheetah about it, see if we could have something to go here. And then the next year, or that spring, we're playing volleyball, and it was just me and a bunch of my basketball friends that went out and played.
We talked earlier about recruitment, before we take a break, about recruitment being really the main factor in the success as you evaluate college coaches. What do you look for, Dave, when you recruit athletes to go to Viterbo?
Well, obviously you're looking for, the minimum level of athleticism that you can survive and play and contribute in whatever league you're playing. And so that was a little bit of a crapshoot being brand new, is that we hadn't played in the CCAC yet. We didn't know for sure the level of competition. So you're looking for athletes, you're looking for people of good character, and I think, and then you're looking for people with desire. Those are probably the three main things: just athleticism, character, and then desire. Both of these guys, we'd be remiss not to mention they both had good quality coaching. Coach Dubeck, who Collin has mentioned, Coach Ben White at Middleton is a quality coach. So, I knew that those guys had good coaching, having come through those programs.
And then the academic standards, of course, and the expectations of Viterbo are very high, too.
Yes. And so, we had to, obviously you got to be able to be eligible to help a team. And so that's a big part of it as well. When I found Collin surprisingly was not going anywhere to play basketball. He was planning on going to another school. When I asked him why he was going to that school, it was just because it was where his dad had went to school, and he was maybe going to try to walk on or something. And so, as he said, we had that great conversation. He came down and visited, had a great visit. And that's always the other thing that was tricky that first year with these guys is when they came here, there was nobody to meet. There were no other teammates yet to meet, right? So they only could meet with me or Barry or, whoever was around, Coach DeLong from the women's team, and hear about Viterbo. And then it was total, you're selling pie in the sky here because there's nobody here yet. There's no product to see.
Well, they made the right decision, and if you're interested in why they made the right decision, stay tuned for the second half, as we're going to talk about how special their gift is for Viterbo Men's Volleyball right after this.
With our busy lives, it's a comfort to know that we can still remember loved ones in a traditional way with a monument. Lewiston Monuments in Lewiston, Minnesota has been helping families purchase a monument for over 4 generations. You'll find a large selection of beautiful granite, marble, and bronze monuments, all at competitive prices. And they're a full-service company, so they also do straightening, cleaning, and repair of monuments. Stop in or call for a no-obligation consultation, or visit lewistonmonument.com for more information.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports again. This week, the spotlight on Viterbo Men's Volleyball. Head coach Dave Simon, along with Collin Hansen and Jacob Nonn. Jacob, looking at your statistics, both freshmen, looking at your statistics, led the team in kills with 234. You had over 3 kills per game. You served 14 aces, second best on the team. You had a career-high 31 kills and a home match against Dort in the month of March. By the way, the season started in January and just finished in April. So, oh my goodness, did you think you would have that much success as a freshman?
No, I really did not think I would have that much success.
That's awesome. What do you, Coach? Give me a quote and thought on Jake's first year.
Well, like we said, Jake came out of high school and club as not really being a primary hitter, but he had the size and the length and the desire, and we really thought that he could become that. But he surpassed all expectations for the first year. He really did. He really took the coaching well. Assistant coach Jake Kuyak worked a lot with him in hitting, and did a great job. And Jake is just a sponge. He wants to learn. He wants to get better. And he just really took to it, and those are the results.
A sponge. I used to use that all the time in my coaching terminology, wanting to learn, never being satisfied, just having an appetite for learning. I think that describes Collin Hansen, too. Another freshman, played in all 69 games, 68 kills, led the team in 43 blocks. You had a career best, too, at home in March when you played Dort College out of Iowa. And so did you surpass what you thought you would achieve in year one?
Yeah, I didn't expect, my hitting has improved so much thanks to Coach Dave and Coach Jake. They've improved me from here to here. That's how much I've been improved from that. My blocking form has just improved, and that's due to Coach Jake. helping me with blocking all the time.
What's your thought on his first year, on Collin's first year?
Again, far exceeded expectations. Like I said, we knew Collin was athletic and a leaper, but he was very raw. Had only played 2 months of volleyball, basically, at Farmington, and so we thought, wow, this guy's the sky's the limit, but it's going to take a long time to get there. And again, Collin's one of the guys. He's one of the first guys to be hard on himself. He's going to be hard on himself. Again, he wants to be good. He wants to improve. And just that drive and desire really made it easy to coach these guys and to bring them along. And we're still just scratching the surface with both of these guys. These guys both have the potential to become all-conference players in the Chicagoland Athletic Conference. They're that type of level guys. And who knows after that? I mean, I really believe that Collin can become one of the best middles in the conference.
Yeah. Well, when I think of men's volleyball Division I, I watch it occasionally on TV. I think of powerhouses, Ohio State, Long Beach State. Always in the national championship picture. I think of players like TJ DeFalco. I've watched him. Kyle Ensing. When I think of volleyball throughout the country, Team USA, I think won the bronze in the World Cup this past September, and there are athletes like Micah Christensen and some of those athletes. But when I look at I used to watch a lot of beach volleyball. I used to watch Karch Corrali and so on. But you talk about tremendous athletes with discipline, mental discipline, conditioned, sculptured bodies. I mean, there's some just fantastic athletes. So when you look at some of those, maybe some teams or some athletes I just mentioned, do you try to model yourself, Collin, after anybody?
No, I try to be better than them.
Oh. Do you really?
Definitely.
So you set some pretty high standards. Mm-hmm. Well, some of the teams or some of the players I mentioned, do you model yourself after any of them in terms of your skill set or their style? I'm
gonna be honest. I've maybe watched 3 matches of Division I volleyball, and I've never really No, I don't. If I'm gonna be honest, no.
Well, Team USA.
I watched them twice, maybe.
Oh.
I don't know names. I told you, I'm all basketball. You talk about basketball, I could talk about it for days.
Well, with your skill set though and your dedication, your name will be mentioned right along the ones I mentioned. Now, Jake, you probably know those names and those teams.
Yes.
So do you try to model yourself after anyone?
I've watched a lot of Micah Christensen and TJ DeFalco as of lately, and those are 2 of my favorite players to watch.
And what's their skill set that you would like to use in your own game?
TJ DeFalco can just get a kill on any ball that he is set, and I would really like to learn how to do that.
So maybe we can contact him and have him come on the show and maybe learn some things about him.
That'd be great.
But beach volleyball for both men and women is it's a spectacular thing to watch. No question about it. Do you watch that at all, Jake?
Mainly I've watched the women. So I watched Carrie Walsh Jennings, and she was just dominant when she played.
Yeah. Well, we talked about conditioning, sculptured bodies, and bringing their best every single game. You must have some expectations on conditioning during the season, out of the season, nutritional things, and so on that you expect from your athletes, Coach.
Definitely, Terry. That's one of the big things I think going from the high school level to the collegiate level. That we had guys who had never been really much into weightlifting, and we had guys who had done it throughout their high school programs. So we had a mixed bag on our team. We've got a strength coach that works with both the women's team and the men's team, and I think that went really well. That's something that these guys is really going to help these guys take their game to the next level. You talk about that sculptured body. These guys are both going to be working hard to get towards that. Collin will tell you he already put on about 10, 15 pounds of muscle this year. So the program's working for him, and he's still got some ways to go, and Jake does as well. Just because you look at their frames, they're tall and slender and length, and so they've got to add some strength. But that's a key component, I think, going up at this level and then being able to take your game to the next level.
Collin, you were looking at different schools and so on. What was the attraction to, you came to Viterbo, but you had other opportunities, basketball you mentioned. What brought you here?
What brought me here is something new. It was something new. My mom always played volleyball from like elementary school all the way to college. She played a little bit of college. And it's just, I was going to schools and I kind of chose Southwest just because like my dad went there. I was like, you know, it's kind of cool. I could go with my dad, like go there, do that. And then this opportunity came up to play a sport, and my parents jumped on that like wildfire. They're just like, you should do it. And it took me a couple weeks to think about it. And then I thought about it. I said, I want to visit. And I think the visit really made me want to come here is because I spoke with the dean of the business department, and he was great, talked about how the business program is really good there, and I enjoyed that a lot. And obviously Coach Dave, he helped me talk to me about what's going to happen, how everything is going to go. That's why I chose here, is just because of the home feel.
It's a privilege, it's an honor, it's a gift that not many people have that dream about being a college athlete. Very few ever achieve that. You've achieved it. You've chose Viterbo. You could have perhaps went some other places too, but you wanted to come to lacrosse. Why was that?
I've loved volleyball ever since 6th grade. I've had a passion for it all through high school. But then once I started getting taller, then I wasn't used to being a hitter, so I didn't get recruited as heavily. So I saw this Viterbo program as a new program, and I thought that'd be amazing to start off a new program. And then I came and visited here, and I loved the School of Business. I loved the coaching staff we had.
Let's put your academic hat on, because you do go to classes, by the way, right?
Yes.
So first semester go well for you? Was there a period of adjustment that was a challenge for you?
Yeah, it was definitely different than high school. A lot more workload, like on your own.
So your time management is a big part of it,
Oh yeah,
right?
you have to plan out like every day.
And of course, your coach has high expectations for you as a student first, athlete second.
Terry, Jake's being humble. He led our team this fall with a 3.7 GPA.
Oh, Jake, you are humble. Thanks for sharing that, Coach. Well, good. So it wasn't a terrible adjustment.
No.
Good. So let's fast forward. Your major, your career, and so on.
Right now, my major is accounting, and I would love to get my CPA at Viterbo and then move on to be a public accountant.
Oh, good. Coaching someday too, maybe?
Oh, yeah, that'd be great to coach a volleyball team.
Collin, you go to classes too, don't you?
Yeah. Try to.
But of course, they don't take roll call a lot of times like they do in high school. So.
No, yeah, they do. A lot of my classes have like attendance and participation go together. So which also I really like that as well. Is like if I'm coming to class, I get credit for it.
Yeah, but even if they didn't have that participation part, you'd still be there all the time.
Yeah, probably.
So what about your major, and where are you going to be?
My major is sports management, and what I want to do is I want to be an athletic director.
Oh.
So basically, I want to get my major here, and then I'm probably going to move back to the Twin Cities, get my master's, and then either find an athletic director job around the Twin Cities or move to Colorado and find one.
Good for you. Well, you know, the summer is approaching here, and there's a lot of opportunities for beach volleyball. So you're going to be part of that here or back home, or go to Southern California and try to compete there?
I'm playing with my coach. We're playing some duos in sand, and then we're going to play some 6-on-6 grass and court tournaments.
Good.
This summer.
And you're going back to Middleton?
Yeah, me and one of my high school teammates are going to play some sand tournaments around the area.
Well, good. Well, so we'll be watching that too. You chose the right guys, Coach, didn't you?
I certainly did.
You did. I can just tell that the first time meeting him, and I'm sure your roster's full of quality athletes like the two we had on the show today. So a year two coming up next year, and we're going to see even more results and more success for Viterbo V-Hawk men's volleyball, right?
We are. This year is just, that starter year, and the springboard has been set, and these guys are ready to pounce on it and jump forward.
Good, I'm sure. Well, it's been a pleasure having Dave Simon, head coach, first year at Viterbo, also coaches with the women, along with two freshmen, Collin, Hansen, and Jacob Nonn. So thanks for being on the show, guys.
Thank you, Terry.
We'll be back with some closing thoughts right after this.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team.
Who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is our business.
When you're faced with the decision of selecting a monument to honor someone dear to you, call Lewiston Monuments for a no-obligation consultation. Lewiston Monument is a full-service monument company, serving families in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin for over 4 generations. You'll find beautiful granite, marble, and bronze memorials, all at competitive prices. Their experts can help you design the perfect and unique memorial. Lewiston Monument. Call today or on the web at lewistonmonument.com.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports. Well, 2 big races this weekend as we begin the month of May. First, the Ultra Federal Credit Union 5K Run and Walk, beginning at 8:30 a.m. at Riverside Park. Then for the long distance runners, the Festival Foods Half Marathon, beginning at 8 a.m. at the historic Grandad Bluff. Hope to see you there. Plenty of other activities to take advantage of in the Coulee region as we begin the spring and summer months. Hiking, biking, road races, water sports, and of course, very soon, music in the park. Take advantage of the great weather coming soon and get involved in some outdoor activities. We are broadening our lists of guests as we continue to try and improve the show for you. If you have a suggestion on an upcoming guest or a topic, please contact us here at the studio. Check your local listing because beginning on May 12th, we will bring you Knights of Thunder Racing every Thursday and every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Thanks for joining us this week. Until next week, when our guests, we will profile the Logan Girls Track and Field here on KQEG. I'm your host, Terry Erickson, hoping that you will have a safe, active, and a healthy week ahead.